Inside LAFC, the Max and Vince podcast. We're back. Before I go any further, I want to thank Connor Kalopsis for filling in wonderfully.
Yeah, what'd you think?
I haven't listened to the whole thing yet.
Oh, okay.
I have. I did get started, but it's good. Yeah. Connor's come a long way. Connor's getting his X's and O's and all that, and he knows how to trim the fat on the stories.
And I didn't hold back. I was just like, hey, we're going to go. This is what we're going to talk about. I'm just going to kind of feed you stuff, and you better have something. And he was fine. He was perfectly fine.
Vince LaRosa, Max Bretta's perfectly fine. I sat next to him at the El Tráfico game.
Yeah.
And we have a lot to talk about.
We have a lot to talk about.
So I probably shouldn't be doing too much chit-chat.
Well, let's talk about sunscreen.
Sunscreen!
Max's latest infatuation.
Oh, I can't believe...
Brought to you by the artist that doesn't know how planes fly. Now, let's learn about sunscreen.
Fly, but I'm still amazed they get up there. I guess, and I've been traveling a little bit more.
Okay.
So I do a trip to Miami almost weekly.
Are you bothering the flight attendants in the class?
No, but I'm just sitting there.
So when I get in here and I lock the seatbelt, we actually travel, right? This isn't all a simulation?
Here's an example.
Okay.
So I'm sitting there, and we're an hour and 15 on the tarmac. I go, we're going to be a little late arriving to Miami. I go, all right. They didn't say that. I'm thinking that. All right, great. And they go, don't worry. We'll still get you there on time. I'm like, well, do you have a little turbo button? They do.
They do?
And then when they're out, he goes...
Just really gassed it.
They go, we'll be arriving in L.A. to Miami in 3 hours and 40 minutes.
Wow.
You don't believe that, Jason? They said 4 hours and 10 minutes, but I looked at my watch. It was 3 hours.
I mean, you get the
minutes.
jet stream. That helps. But 3 hours and wow.
Maybe that's an exaggeration, but it was under 4 hours for sure.
Okay. So now airplanes you figured out. What is your infatuation with sunscreen?
So I was watching a cricket match on. I always flip around on ESPN Plus to see what to watch, and it's.
When you do like cricket,
I like all sports, but I can't watch it.
You used to.
So the guy had zinc caked on his face, so that no sun gets through.
Yeah,
it's the ultimate sunblock, and I said that's pretty rudimentary way to apply, but that's how you do it. That's a foolproof way.
Well, if you're playing cricket and the match is going to last 12 hours, you can't be reapplying 5 times.
In the olden days, in Rome, when Caesar was just kidding, but they used to put zinc, and then now they've toyed with new types of sunscreen, and then the aerosol.
The aerosol's bad. Don't use the aerosol, people.
Why not?
Well, here's why. Here's my public service announcement. There are certain types of aerosol, I don't know which ones exactly, but they had an ingredient that actually does cause cancer. So the thing that you're fighting against does cause cancer. However, just in general, the aerosol should not be getting in and around your lungs. And when you're spraying it all over your face, it is being
Well, I don't do it on my face.
I know, I'm just saying. But
I spray it on my back, I put it on my hand, and then I go.
Max, do you know how air works? Because even when you put it on your arms, it's still getting inhaling a little bit. Use regular sunscreen. Maybe go back to zinc. Go back. I mean,
no.
What is old is new.
I just amazed, and then the different levels. So sunscreen, another great invention by mankind.
Yep.
And I hope you applied it because it was a hot weekend here.
It was. It's going to cool down hopefully in the next couple of days, but it was warm.
So
that Galaxy match.
We are
warm if you're sitting there for.
Oh yeah, hats off. We're going to talk about the supporters.
Yeah, if you're the extra hour standing there for the supporters because you had to be let in early, man, that was tough for them.
They got in. They arrived. So the game kicked off at 5. They arrived a little bit before 3 on the timeline.
I got there like right at 3. They were already well situated in that section.
Seated.
So they had to be
2 hours plus.
At least 2 hours plus.
And by 4 or 5, that sun's going.
Yeah, it never left.
Because it's setting.
It never. And it almost not until the very end of the match did it.
I sat there. I was like, oh man. So that's a lot to bear. So we'll talk about the supporters because they're a big story about what happened. They were the best part from what we saw, but there were some complications too that we have to certainly address. But we'll start with the game.
Yep.
1-1, the final score, and this is the game before a 13-day break, and there will be 6 games to wrap up the season. And I'd like to look at it as the season within a season, where LAFC. Yeah. We all have differing opinions on what they need to win. Someone said they have to win all 6.
We're pretty close. Me and you and I are pretty close. Connor says all 6. I said 15 points. You said 14. So
I'm thinking I could even go down as low as 13.
What is this? Price is Right?
I can name
1 point, Bob.
13 notes.
1 point.
So yeah, 1 more point. 14, I think will do it.
Okay.
And
14 would give them 47, which in most seasons is enough. However, this is a year where you're playing so much within your conference. I feel like you got to be a little higher.
Okay. And to your point, when we discussed it, you can't drop points to teams that you are in direct competition with.
Yeah.
So that's everyone.
San Jose, Vancouver.
San Jose, who's
Minnesota.
fallen off look, everyone's beating up San Jose. We've got to. That's our next opponent at home. We got to. Give them one.
But
Because they've beaten us twice this season.
Jason got in my ear and my math wrong because I did the math before we picked up our point.
You did this yesterday.
I mean, that math's not my strong suit.
No, it's apparently not.
I'm a
Sunscreen
writer.
protection.
I'm an artist type.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Vancouver's on there, who won. They were the big winner this weekend.
Yes.
They won 3-0 against Real Salt
A
Lake.
hat trick. With
Ryan White.
Ryan White.
A nice available addition. Big center forward. So Portland's gone. They're now chasing possibly Colorado to get third.
Yeah.
Because Colorado lost. Seattle continues to do everyone favors because they're beating everybody.
Yeah.
So let's go 5. Real Salt Lake lost. The thing with Real Salt Lake, they win at home, they lose away.
Mm-hmm.
So if they lose a home game, we're in business. They can be caught.
Yeah, they're fragile.
They're very fragile. Then you have Vancouver, who's now up in there. Minnesota, who has a game in hand. We play them at their place.
Yes. Big.
That's the biggest game of these 6 to me.
Yeah. But they all.
But you're saying they're all. I understand.
I mean, yeah, there's not one that you can circle now.
Okay.
I think if we would have won this, if we would have won the Galaxy match, then maybe you could start to say, all right, well, maybe that's a tough one on the road. We look for just a draw there. No, you need points. You need 3 points.
Was it the impression I did, the Richard Attenborough, or is it David Attenborough?
David
is the nature guy.
Yes.
So this is what.
Richard is the
Yes.
dinosaurs.
Dinosaurs.
My favorite part of the movie.
You got a full-blown dinosaur.
Dinosaurs. That little DNA guy. I don't know. What's his
Great.
deal?
That was a good next level. So David Attenborough would say, the lion in the savannah looking to feed its cubs has to focus on the injured wildebeest to feed. So you
Not
focus,
one of your best because I feel like you're focusing on what
so
your nature
the
analogy
message.
is.
So you focus on that one team that you feel could be injured, and a win at their place, because Minnesota doesn't win away. You get that, and that's the team you catch.
Don't you think a lot of teams are actually looking at us and wondering if we're the injured one that they could take points off of?
The 3-legged wildebeest coming across. I used that analogy before, but it always.
I think, and the Galaxy too. Galaxy are now winless in 9.
That's why this win. Oh,
That would have been so nice.
so we'll talk about that, but it's everything's in front of you, and it starts with San Jose on the 16th. 3 home games. One thing to mention is that the Vancouver game, which was on a Monday, is going to be on a Tuesday. It's a home game. The San Jose game kicks off at 12:30 in the afternoon.
Yep.
More sun in the face. Bring your sunscreen.
Yeah, bring your sunscreen.
That would be a Univision national game at that hour.
And that will be a game in which you need to be vaccinated.
Yep. So
get
there's a
into the
lot.
building.
There's a lot going on here around the club, but this is a stretch run. We're still in it. This is the fun part, right?
Yeah.
This is the playoffs have started already.
This is why we do sports.
Yes.
Right? Remember everyone's like, oh, MLS, you have playoffs and like everyone gets in. No.
No.
We're going to find out very, very sharply that not everyone gets in.
Do LAFC deserve to be in the playoffs? No. They have more losses than wins. They don't deserve.
Hey, but at least Portland's finally rectified their goal differential. But for the longest time, they had a negative goal differential, and they were like in 4th and 5th. What?
Who's got the big? Oh, the Galaxy have like a -6.
Yeah, Galaxy are back to.
They have a bad goal differential, so they could be in trouble if it gets tight here at the end.
Yeah, so if points are tied, that's going to be.
That's why in and around that's not a terrible result for LAFC, all things considered.
It was not a terrible result. Not the best.
You need to win your home games down the stretch.
Mm-hmm.
Galaxy, a team that you're chasing, did not.
So three home games remaining?
Yeah, San Jose, Vancouver, and then there's a Colorado
Seattle.
game at the end, and then Seattle. So.
Okay. So 3 home games is 9 points on you. So to get to your 13, 14, or 15, yeah, you got to win all your home games now. Definitely.
The numbers say they will, historically.
Not
Maybe
lately,
not this
though.
year.
Historically, but not lately.
This season, well, they did lose their last home game to Portland. So,
All right, let's talk about the match.
no, let's keep talking about math.
No,
okay, yes, let's talk about the
my
match.
head's starting to hurt.
Let's start about
not a vintage performance on the field from either. This was not the most exciting.
Still good.
Still good because the team, you can tell it matters.
It's always an occasion.
Yeah, but
I spoke to John Champion,
Mm-hmm.
who calls the game for ESPN, and he goes, "These are the games that are more compelling to call, because it's this league and you don't really have it. If you have these 2 teams that are first and second or whatever in the West, in this league in particular, they can kind of there was no taking your foot off the pedal.
Right.
This was gung-ho, and maybe that led to the fact that it wasn't the cleanest game.
You could see how much more it meant to people, and that's maybe why the game gets a little choppy and it gets a little physical. But there were some good performances on either side, but none of them really the star performers. Brian and Chicho on our side didn't have much supply and then didn't provide much when they were able to get on the ball, they had chances. Brian had the chance in the first half. Was it Chicho that hit the bar? No, it was Pancho that hit the bar. And then
that was Sifu who came in and played a beautiful ball. Sifu was really active. It's just sometimes not without a
did a lot of work. He was gassed because we were defending. We didn't have much possession, so we were spending a lot of time defending, and then just going 100 miles an hour at the Galaxy defense in transition. Galaxy cannot defend in transition at all, so it made for a smart.
It was a smart game plan.
Yeah, it was a smart game plan because first half there was just too much, and Bob mentioned it. So he had Crisostomo in the 6 and try to get Edouard further forward. That kind of had a two. I see why you do that because Crisostomo does play better as a 6 than an 8. He has been somewhat clean on the ball, but he was just kind of in an island, and Victor Vasquez was just running everywhere. Victor Vasquez has no position.
Pete Vagenas.
He does look a lot like Pete Vagenas. But he's able to pick up positions wherever he pleases, and that was causing Danny a lot of trouble because he wasn't sure where to be. In the goal, he's too far over to the side. And then the twofold effect is because he's not sure where to be and you don't have much of the ball, then you can't get a Profe into the game. So Bob makes a change at halftime, brings Pancho in, tells Edouard to come back a little bit more. We have a little bit of possession to start the second half, and then we kind of lost our way, but at least we were dangerous in transition because once you get past the Galaxy front 6, you can feast on those.
Look, I counted 3 or 4 odd man breaks, 4-on-2, 4-on-3, whatever, 3-on-2. Mm-hmm. Advantages where a decision could be made to get the open man, and they never hit it.
Yeah.
Or it was they did, and it was a bad touch from the recipient.
The sharpness and extra pass, I'd say, was the biggest downfall of LAFC in the entire match, whether it was in transition or in possession, because we didn't have much possession. It was really because we weren't willing to move it along to the open man. We were always in a congested part of the field. Couldn't be brave enough, and instead of sending long balls.
Guys in each other's space.
Yep.
Which maybe this is not transition's not something they do a lot. They usually have control of the ball and possession and are finding something that is open. And now it's like transition, bang, make a reaction very quickly, and it lacked. I wonder if part of it is because lack of practice or lack of experience doing that. Not to make excuses, even though I just did.
Yeah, not lack of practice, I think, but lack of chemistry.
Not lack of practice.
Lack of chemistry in that group, right? That specific group, because to your point, it happens so fast. When you go out in transition, you got to already space out the field kind of as you're heading that out ball and get out there because, I saw it a few times. And not just that, but runs too soon or too late, ahead of the ball going offside, which were
lack
killers.
of hold up play when it did stop, and that's on Chicho because he did things where he needed to get a touch. And
they weren't
caromed off.
Yeah, like him and Brian. I think early in the first half there was a couple times where they were able to send the long ball over the top. Brian ran onto it, and so I thought he wanted to do that the whole match. But there was a few times where keep the defense honest. You just got to show ahead of the ball and make it stick. Hold up play for a second. Allow Sifu to not have to, dead sprint just to get in there with you. Yeah, not enough hold up play.
The one person that was good in the transition, Danny Masovsky.
Sometimes.
I know. I mean, he had 2 or 3 great runs,
but also a couple runs that he could have done better and not gone offside.
Yes, you're right.
He wasn't called offside, but when you run off and the player looks up and goes, "You're clearly offside. I'm
not playing you."
Yeah.
By and large, the reserves were smart, and I mean, Bob's been hitting these, and I know people always say, "Why don't they start?" You can't. You got to try something, and it came in
because he has to predict how the match is going to go.
He doesn't know how to
go. We all get to sit back and go, "Hey, well, that didn't work out." Well, yeah.
I'm just being devil's advocate, but I'm trying to speak on behalf of Bob. There goes our untrained eyes go, "What's not working here?" He knows exactly what's not working, and he makes those adjustments. And Pancho coming in, and Cheeky coming in,
getting Edouard more on the ball. Shorter passes. Our counter press for the first 10, 15 minutes was really strong because we had possession, and when we lost the ball, it wasn't because we lost it from a long ball. It was from a 5 to 10 yard pass, which we've always learned. It's so much easier to counter press a 5 to 10 yard pass than it is a 35 yard long ball. And we have the hindsight. We get to look back and go, "Oh, you should have known it couldn't have worked out." Oh, come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
It's frustrating because they should have won it. They had good chances. Pancho hits the crossbar. Let's talk about the Mamadou Fall goal because the headers that he has scored this season are A plus. A plus.
Not to take anything away from the header, but I want to point this out. The soccer brain was working because if you rewatch the replay before the kick, Sega Koulibaly goes to wipe sweat off his shirt, and I swear you could see Mamadou because he's standing there right with him. Right when he sees that, he goes, later. And then Sega couldn't recover, and Sega completely lost him. Yes, he's in towards the play at the end, but just I would ask people to just rewatch that. It was such a smart move by Mamadou. He's at the top. Look for him at the top of the 18. He's standing with Koulibaly, and the second right when
I look at that now, I'm really eager. That's great.
No, look at it. Right when he literally lifts the bottom of his shirt up to wipe his face, and then Mamadou goes later, and then the ball served in, and Koulibaly can't recover. Ravilson is looking at Koulibaly like, what happened there, bro? You had him at the 18. Next thing he knows, he pops up at the 6 where I'm at, and he's free. But towering header, though.
Unbelievable. But there were still 2 defenders in front of him, and you don't even see it. It almost looks like it goes off a Galaxy player, but it's like this tight little...
Well, we were sitting with a legend, Jorge Campos. And I will say that even on an LAFC podcast, when it comes to legends of the Mexican national team, of California soccer, of just...
goalkeeping in general, he changed.
Goalkeeping in general.
Him and Fabian Barthez were, to me, the first smaller keepers, athletic keepers that could play, almost be an extra defender in many ways. And, I mean, we see that all the time now in this sport.
Well, he looked at me and he goes, everyone was right there. I go, yeah, but he can jump over all of them. He goes, I know. Yeah. And he was in
amazing
awe,
athlete.
In awe.
Campos.
Yeah, and Jorge Campos, like you said, amazing athlete. For him to be in awe of another amazing athlete, it's cool when you get those little moments to see that kind of thing.
And Mamadou settled in. I mean,
still a little rough in the possession.
Still rough. I would say this. I mean, we should develop a Rookie of the Year campaign just because of the games he's played and because of this incredible. The fact that he makes MLS Teams of the Week because he scores goals. He's had 4 goals. 1 was disallowed, but 4 incredible headers in the area. And the set pieces for LAFC have gone from good to have been okay to good to really good now. Because even the Raheem, remember we were talking about Raheem Edwards taking that free kick? That was on target.
Yeah.
There was like 3 or 4 really good corners and free kicks that seemed to threaten. So I think that'll remain. And now teams have to be like, where's this fall kid? Because he could kill us.
Yeah. And what a weapon in a rivalry match on the road. That's what we all thought, right? You get your set piece goal on the road in a rivalry match. Like you said after the game, this is a game, maybe you win one.
This is a game, you win 1-0. And LAFC, and I tweeted afterwards, because it's a good tweet and it's a tough one to swallow if you're LAFC because you've only allowed
the responses to your tweet, I don't think they quite understand what you were trying to say.
I know, that was kind of getting it. I go, yeah.
They're like, our defense sucks. If you give up...
Our defense is not.
5 shots on goal in was 5 matches?
3.
3 matches.
So 2 against San Jose, 2 against Portland, 1 against Galaxy, and all 5 were goals.
All 5 were goals. That's not necessarily a matter of your defense being bad. It is a matter of your luck being horrible. And yes, there were some mistakes in there, but that's all you're giving up. That's actually, you're putting the onus on our attack, who should be scoring.
Right.
If our defense is only giving up that much, and yes, they're goals, but on the flip side, we are creating 2 to 3 times more than that, the attack needs to pick up the slack.
They did hit a couple posts a couple times, which I think should be considered as goals, so it's not that etched in ink here.
And Chicharito missed completely when he had Efrain Alvarez streaking down the side. I don't think he saw him at all.
Man, the Galaxy were like launching these. We had a lot. I mean, there was a couple balls that almost left the stadium.
Yeah.
With these shots on goal. I'm like, ugh. Where did I park my car? I didn't park my car. I Ubered because I live in Redondo.
Smart. Oh,
I'm so sorry.
Hitting the microphone, not smart.
So it's promising, but it's frustrating as well. But that was the game that LAFC should score and shut it down and win 1-0.
Yeah. And that was, I was on record a couple months ago saying the Galaxy might be in trouble because they give up too many shots on goal. Yes, they seemingly have a very good goalkeeper in Jonathan Bond, but if he even loses just a little bit, it's going to be bad for them. Now they're on a 9-game streak where they haven't won, but Bond was great in that game.
Yeah. He's always good against us.
Yeah.
Officiating?
Not great.
Armando Villarreal.
Missed the 2 biggest calls of the game in one way. I mean, at least...
And for both teams.
Yeah, at least he can say, hey, we wiped the slate clean because Raheem Edwards should have been sent off in the first half.
Raheem Edwards should have been sent off.
Clear second yellow.
I got grief for that tweet because I was saying I'm like too LA-centric. I'm trying to call it like I see him, so I'm trying to show him I'm not always wearing black and gold. I'm watching the game and saying, look, Raheem should have been sent off.
Yeah, that's an automatic. When you reach out and just tug a guy down, anytime you commit a foul, especially in your defensive third where you can't ever get the ball, it's pretty much a bang-on yellow card. I mean, it's pretty easy. It's one of the easiest calls to make, honestly.
And not the first time Raheem's been taken off at the half because he had a yellow.
No.
So that's something to keep.
He had to come off.
I like Raheem's athleticism. He's aggressive. He wins ball back for you, but that could.
But he can be a little little too loose with that aggressiveness. And then in the second half, it's a penalty.
Right, the penalty, and we'll talk about it. We also, I don't know what was behind it, but he didn't have his yellow and red card on him at the very beginning either.
Right.
He had to go to the linesman to get it, which I chuckled.
That was funny.
Yes, it was funny. That happens. We won't do that.
Him trying to find it, and then I was like, oh, is he not going to do it at all? And then he had to run all the way over to the linesman. It's great.
That's a good question. Why would the linesman have yellow and reds?
Well, they have to keep tally too.
Yes.
But
let's do this.
Yeah, thankfully. Imagine if he didn't.
The officiating industry, sorry to get off topic here, the officiating industry is caught in this antiquated, like the sport is advancing in technology and everything. We have VAR, we have cameras on a satellite that can show these lines where you're offside by an inch, yet we still keep stoppage time with a stopwatch and we still write down whose yellow card. They've got to update this, no?
What do you want, robots?
I just want if there's a yellow card, someone goes yellow card and put it on the scoreboard, or how about this? Stop the clock.
No, don't stop the clock, please don't.
Stoppage time is the weirdest thing ever, man.
I know, but
it's the weirdest, and they said
it's a pageantry.
But if you're updating the entire game, you can't say, okay, we're going to keep this for these traditionalists.
If we want to talk about MLS, we need to just update the officiating in general, and then it's the next big frontier for MLS. We need better officiating.
Yeah.
We have better players. They can do better things. We need better officials.
I support our officials. They're working hard, and they're doing a lot of good things.
They're doing the best that they can.
Howard Webb and Pro there, and all the guys there. I sit in their calls every Thursday, and they're transparent with all of the information. I love it, but there's too much things like that. So the VAR, we said, was Kevin Stott, and
not your favorite.
I just think he's been there in a long time. Shouldn't officiating be a younger man's game?
It should be.
I wouldn't. I mean, I'm 49. Keep that under your hats. But anything that needs supervision, and I'm out. Get the kids in there. The penalty, Chicho, it was bang bang. But the reason I would stand firm when you're looking at it VAR is here's the ball is going in one direction. Chicho's pursuing it. Bond comes in like a barricade to get to that ball, and
he kicked him.
And all the momentum was on Chicho's. It was pretty. When the more I think about it, and the more I looked at it afterwards, I say that's a penalty.
Yeah.
So.
Well, the thing that I said to you before we started, if it's in the middle of the field, you're calling a foul?
That's a great way to put it. Yes.
Yes, you are.
We know that doesn't always apply. That you don't get yellow cards a minute in the game.
And I understand that's probably not the best litmus test, but if we're talking about whether it was or not foul or not, let's start there.
Yeah. What is litmus? That's a little. It's like you have to.
I don't know. I just said it.
It gives it gives an oral indicator on what's going on. Sorry, I have to grab my phone because we're doing it. I want to get.
I don't think that's what I don't think it has anything to do with oral. A litmus test is a general term for what is the level of something. I mean, sure, maybe it has.
Confusing with I
don't know.
Yeah, it was a chemistry class. So
When was the last time you were in a chemistry classroom?
A long time ago.
Yeah.
Beakers.
What kind of chemistry do you do?
Bunsen burners.
What kind of chemistry do you do now? Oh, we're getting in trouble.
I have a van out there in San Bernardino.
If we go back to where we just started, Connor did a great job. However, I had to be on my best behavior because he's 18.
Yeah.
Can't talk about booze. Couldn't talk about all the other fun stuff we talk about. I tried to, but then I realized I had to immediately pull back because I realized I can't.
Yeah. Oh, you're talking about here?
No, you and I. We go
podcast
deep.
With Connor here.
Yeah, well, because he's 18, I can't be seen as corrupting minors. Bad enough with my tattoos and all that.
What's up with the earrings?
I've had them forever.
Sorry. Jason, tell me.
Maybe you should get one.
Oh, I'm sorry. I shouldn't listen. Jason hoodwinked me on that one. Should I get one?
I don't know. I mean, you should.
Should I get a tat?
You should, but no.
I want to get that one like Pulisic with the eyeballs.
No, that's so stupid. Yeah, we could do a whole episode on footballer tattoos. They're garbage. How many more guys? Okay, look. To every world footballer, how many more of you are going to get a lion tattooed on your back? Just stop it. Stop it. By the way, and you're all getting male lions. They're not even ones that go out hunting and killing. They lay around and they're lazy. Dummies.
Lions are the worst animal in the animal kingdom.
Well, that's why I have a giraffe.
They are the worst.
I have a giraffe and a jaguar.
Do you know what
Jaguars are awesome. They kill alligators.
I watch a lot of. You know what lions do when they beat the other male? That kills all the cubs.
Yeah.
Because it's not what.
Yeah.
And they're lazy.
You want to raise someone else's kids?
So yes.
Think about it.
Let them fend for themselves and go, guys.
Maybe it makes sense.
You're not my kids,
right?
I don't want to
Go
kill
get a
you.
job. Get out of here.
But yeah, go out and get a job. They're hiring over there in the Serengeti. Just see what's up. So we covered most of the team.
Covered the match.
We always have this moment where I say we covered it.
Yes, we covered the match. We covered the referees. Who do you think was the best player in that match? Was I have a pick, and people aren't going to like it.
Best player in that game, LAFC or in general?
Just in general.
I don't know.
Mine was Jonah DeSantos. He was
that is the shout. He was everywhere.
I
kept seeing him on the
stepped
ball.
up in that game. Normally it's someone like Araujo that steps up in that game. Obviously, Chicharito.
And every time he had the ball, you're like,
man, he covered so much ground. And then when he started being slightly less effective was when we started really getting in on transition.
good for him. I mean, he's still a young player.
Yeah, he's also in a contract year.
Yeah, he's also in a contract year. So let's talk about the atmosphere. Let's
talk about the good and the bad of the atmosphere.
Let's try and go in chronological order because I got there around 3:00 as well. I would have got there earlier.
The 13 buses already arrived. About 650.
650
fans
was
in the
incredible.
supporter. That's just in the supporter section.
Yes.
We did see a smattering of fans all around the stadium.
There was 12 buses. They had to add a 13th bus to get this, and you could see it. I mean, they took a big corner of that stadium, and it looked incredible. And they were singing, and it was.
And a coordinated blackout, which was very cool. I like the all black and LAFC wore black on the day. So
yeah. And I saw a lot of LAFC fan next to Galaxy fan coming to the game together, and it warms your heart because we're all in this city together. And I think one of the things we want to take away from this is that we've said it before: if these two clubs can work together in a way and kind of concede a few things to each other in some way, this rivalry can take to another level. Little things like helping each other out in situations. Coming together like they did with the Tommy Mark situation with the field.
That's great.
Where you
Just
go,
last
okay,
week.
let's do this together. And great things can happen. So that doesn't happen enough. I didn't really sense it there. And when I walked in, the first thing you notice is the Landon Donovan ceremony.
Everything is tit for tat.
Yeah.
And it's getting kind of old.
It is, yeah.
Because, look, we're not saying that it's not serious. We understand it. But the seriousness is on the field. And the seriousness is in how you support your team, not how you fight the other team. You know what I mean? I don't quite understand it. And I understand where a lot of the lineage of support comes from and what we're looking to. We look to Europe. We see the Ultras in Europe. They do some great things, but they're also known for some really bad things. We look to South America. We see the River and Boca game having to be canceled and sent all the way to another continent because they couldn't, stop pepper spraying each other and being violent. Like, we get that. To me, that's not passion. I'll just put it out there. That's not passion. We don't have to adopt everything. I know we have such a complex in the United States as being not serious and we don't support the right ways. Doesn't mean that we need to adopt some of the things that they do, and some of the nefarious things that they do. I don't love it.
It's amazing how quickly this supporter culture is, and it's to see where it's come, and so much work has been put into it, and it's done the right way. And the fans, when you go to the supporters, they are salt of the earth, wonderful folks. We go to the table.
Yeah, context here too.
And
don't think that we're trying to paint everyone with the same brush, and we're not saying that what the supporters do isn't great. And you and I would not want to go to a game without supporters, right? We have gone to games without supporters, obviously through COVID, and it was garbage.
Terrible.
It's not fun. However, we all need to take a look in the mirror. And if you're one of the, look, we know the main ingredient. Alcohol plays a big role in this.
Well, and the pot was stirred, and I know I agree with you. The Landon Donovan ceremony, I thought it probably and you said you want the exposure on the big game, but
I understand why they want it, but I do understand it is tit for tat.
It's tit for tat, and I walk in there, I go, why? This is it's already a nightmare. There's a huge sheriff and police force, and at the end of the game, we walked out.
Also, no one wanted
fire trucks.
No one wanted to be sitting out there at 4 p.m. with the sun on them.
They brought everyone. Don Garber was there and Sunil Gulati, and it was just there was people going in. And then the one thing I noticed when I was there was people are booing and I'm like, it just didn't. It felt it was an uncomfortable situation passing there.
I get it. Maybe do it when you can have 100% of the stadium all be embracing who that player was and what it was. Obviously, on a derby day, you ain't gonna get 100%.
I get it. You want to have that impact, but it did have that impact. It's Landon Donovan. He's arguably the best player we've ever had in this country. Him and Clinton Dempsey, 1A, 1B, however you want to see it. That should be enough. But it kind of got things into a rhythm that was, like you said, the tit for tat. And we go back, and there was incidents with the Galaxy fans fighting here, and then there was an incident we heard about outside, and it just makes your heart sink because everyone goes there to watch the game and have fun. And
to think that somebody,
I know it's a small group of people, but it blew up because of some of that energy.
To think that somebody could ever go to a sporting event and not come home. And then the flip side of that too, like think about yourself when you do take a look in the mirror. If you have a family to come home to, and think about maybe not coming home because you're in handcuffs instead. Like there's so many levels that it just doesn't make sense. And again, this is not everybody, but by and large, we saw a lot of people getting rowdy and were clearly a little intoxicated.
Yeah.
And you and I, we walked out of there, we walked out of there being like, that was a pretty good game, pretty good spectacle out there, and then seeing just the police presence really it was a sour note.
Yeah. But they put a big police presence for that reason. And now
they have to, and it's going to get bigger next time.
The city is vindicated. And when we had the Galaxy at Bank of California, first thing I noticed, because we park in that pink lot, it was all...
We couldn't.
It was all police cars. Like, all right, so we had to push down there. So they're doing that, and they're going to continue to do that until they feel there's a good faith situation. And these games from the beginning have always had that razor's edge, which every big rivalry game does in the world. That's just part of it. But I wish we kind of could pivot a little bit.
Well, how do we get past it?
But
those might be bigger questions for you and I. That's not what
I know.
we
don't know, but maybe the clubs working together is maybe something, and then maybe find that shared space because we said about the fans. We all know Galaxy fans. Galaxy fan knows LAFC fans. It's a city. They're all in.
Look, I wore this shirt today specifically for this reason. This is one of the greatest derby photos of all time, and obviously it is
a good one.
It's a stoppage of a match because fans had stopped the match, and it results in this incredible photo of the players. At the end of the day, the players, like, they hate each other for the 90 minutes, and then they're able to separate it. And to see Marco Materazzi
post-game between the teams
and Rui Costa in this like kind of moment should tell you what you need to know to move forward. It's like, guys, it's the 90 minutes on the pitch afterwards, and I'm not saying go be friends with them.
Yeah.
But come on.
If I was on the clock, by the way, I would have been probably on one of those buses having a couple of us because I want to have a beer at the stadium. I want to have 2 beers at the stadium.
By and large, the people on those buses, that part they do right. Like the stadium security and everyone does right. I mean, look, they put you in the sun place on purpose. That's what you're supposed to do to away fans. Put them in the sun, make it difficult for them. We do the same. We do the same. However, that arriving early, leaving late, it's the smattering of people that are in other places that you have to watch yourself.
Yeah.
What sucks is I have to say that. You shouldn't have to watch yourself. You really should. I mean, you shouldn't have to be looking over your shoulder, wondering who's next to you.
It's unfortunate. You're at a game. You're like, okay, what's going on? I had my black and gold walk around the stadium. I would be lying if I wouldn't go like this and go, okay, what's going on?
Like you said, if we were,
I got a couple of you suck Bradosses, which is par for the course.
Should I tell the story? Can I tell the story again?
No, we've heard enough.
Oh, I love that story, though. It's my favorite rivalry story. But no, to your point, if we weren't on the clock, you and I would have had some beers. Do I have to worry that because someone else can't handle their alcohol that I shouldn't be having a couple beers? Like, or are we going to get to the England, which, by the way, England is now going to test out possibly having. You can't drink in England. You can't drink at your seat. You can't drink anywhere in the stadium. They're going to test out trying it. I don't think it's going to go well.
I think it will. Do you know what people do in England when they can't sit there at the stadium?
Yeah, they just get hammered before.
They get hammered before. And let me tell you, getting hammered before, you go in the stadium and you sit down and you're like, oh.
Yeah. But maybe you just fall asleep.
And I tell you this from first hand.
I'd rather they just fall asleep.
I saw England, Uruguay at Anfield. This is 2005.
Yeah.
And we're like,
did you just not want to age yourself there?
He goes, keep drinking.
Yeah.
And there was like.
At the pint?
There's like, at the pub right there across the street. There's endless pints. They just pour and you just grab one.
Yeah.
Slam it.
Yeah, because you got to.
Drinking a beer at your seat I think is an improvement.
It's ideal. Also, the stadium beer prices are prohibitive on getting really hammered, so they do that. But yeah, it just
that'll discourage anyone. A 15-pound beer.
Yeah.
You're like,
but
maybe I'll just have one of it today, mate.
The fact that we have to have this conversation, though, just know that your actions have ramifications, and I'm gonna guess the next one's gonna have even more police presence. everyone complains about having too many cops around there. Well,
Yeah, we don't want cops. They have more important stuff to do, right?
yeah,
There's
they
a
should.
number of police in the city that you
They
can't.
should.
There's a lot of stuff going on. I think we ran through it. So we just get ready for these 6 games.
Yeah. Well, now it's back to your. We just came full circle here. Season within the season.
Season within the
You
season.
got let's make a point on this. Carlos Vela did not play in the match. At no point is anyone from LAFC, especially Bob Bradley, on the record as saying Carlos Vela was going to play against the Galaxy. Am I right or wrong?
No, he said that is the soonest he might come back.
Right, correct.
Which
You
gives
and I
you
were
hope
both
that
on.
maybe the San Jose game at 12:30 in the afternoon.
Yeah, with 13 days between. He has been training in
Yes.
limited training, and
He's progressing in the right direction, suggesting that he might be able to come.
Let me take you through the timeline of how an injured player gets back onto the pitch.
Please do. This is interesting.
They are injured. They rehab off to the side, normally alone. A lot of times, people ask me when they see pictures of players, because we put up pictures of training, and they go, "Oh, look, this player, he's got to be right close, right?" I go, "Nope. Notice his shoes. When they're in running shoes, bad sign, because what they're doing is they're off with the trainer, they're off to the side, they're usually doing gym work." And we were there one day when we were doing our podcast, and I asked head of security Paul, "Hey, you think you could get the man to come out and talk to us?" And he said, "I will do my best." I go, "All you can do is ask." And I saw him later. He goes, "Hey man, I'm really sorry." He walked out here and said, "Any day but today, they worked me really hard."
Oh,
So he was tired, did not want to do it. So he's been doing rehab. So he's now missed 11 games, eight in a row. So he now has to go from side work to finally getting back on the pitch, which usually you do half on with the team, half back to the side work to continue to work your rehab your injury. Then you have to get under your belt a little bit of fitness the best you can. He has not been out there for a full training session. So just because he's in and around training does not mean that he is ready to play.
Yep.
And no one is on the record as saying he was ready to play. So let's just put that out there. For people that don't know, there is a protocol. There are steps that he has to go through. And really, you have to get in usually 3 or 4 full training sessions, not half and half, full training sessions, like from start to finish, before they even consider you to be part of the 18, not to start a match, but part of the 18. So keep that in mind.
Also keep in mind that players don't just come back from injury and just bang. So we saw it. Brian kind of eased into it. He was 70 minutes.
But it's the same
Edward
injury.
Atuesta.
Why
same
would you?
Right. But I just want to switch it up really quickly because we did forget to mention about the international duty.
Mm-hmm.
And Brian Rodriguez will be called up by Uruguay. Kim Moon-hwan is going to be called up by South Korea. Chiqui Palacios will be called up by Ecuador, but not Jose Cifuentes, which is interesting. I think that's a situation that the options at Ecuador are getting really competitive.
Yeah.
Ecuador's on its way to being a top 10 world power. So we're planning a trip, or I'm planning a trip you can come to.
Love to go.
Tickets to Guayaquil from Miami, $280 round trip. So we can get to Miami. So
We gotta get to
I am
Miami
planning on
first,
doing
and
this. Yeah, we get to Miami. From LA, I think it's $350.
Can I stay at your family's house? I don't want to pay for a hotel out there in Miami.
Yes, you can.
Yes.
You can.
I'll buy.
It's an interesting place
I'll
to
buy you
stay.
a cafecito.
Okay, excellent. So it may become very competitive. Now, I say this, we have this international break, which is fantastic. And we probably have everyone
Because we are
available.
actually taking a break.
We're taking a break. We'll have everyone available. But the one thing that concerns me in September, which is we didn't have a break and they came back. No one came back, bang.
No.
None of them. So they all had issues, and that's going to, I think, illuminate this San Jose game because you hope you get something good because all those guys you would imagine either start or play a significant role. And the frustrating thing was Cheeky played really well, and you got back to that Cheeky that we had the last Galaxy game, and then he went off international duty.
Remember, he had an injury in that Galaxy game.
Yep.
They weren't sure if he was going to stay there. He didn't play, but he went, and then he still had to rehab. Well,
Moon played great. I mean,
Moon
he
played
came
great,
off
but
it.
these also this kind of goes with the injuries. These guys are not robots. The travel's
it's
hard.
to.
You know, there's a lot that they have to do. Another thing is when you play with your national team, the workload and the schedules that they have is a lot different. They usually probably don't work you as hard because a lot of times they have that small window to get the tactics in. So your fitness dips a little bit, and then you got to come back, and then you get into LAFC training, and you're sucking wind, and the coach is like, "Yeah, this is what happens."
I've had a chance to see a lot of international training sessions. You're like, wait, what? That's it? And they're like, yeah, they got it. They know they can't work these guys. So the reason I say that is that San Jose game is monumental because it's going to be a grind.
Mm-hmm.
The kickoff time plus the situation where all these guys are coming back. Does it click in? Possibly. But that's the game. Obviously, the next game's the most important game. You get the result there, and then the next couple games, everyone's got some minutes under their belt. So that's the one we have to clear.
And it's match at home.
Match at home.
We have to take maximum points at home.
Get out there. San Jose, October the 16th, 12:30. We need it. This is it. Every game matters. Make sure you subscribe, rate, review, and share the podcast.
Every podcast matters.
Thursday, I might go down to training.
Oh, maybe I'll join you.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
So we'll get some stuff done.
Let Paul know.
Jamal Blackman, we want to talk about him too. We'll have some more information, but we're going to get to know him a little better.
Cool.
We'll see you next week.